all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business calm at ooma.com/radio.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body?
Huh?
That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With
Discover hidden
Turner
treasures.
Security. We bring cutting-edge protection with live video monitoring, access control entry, advanced camera systems, and intermedia IP phones, all designed to keep your business safe and connected. From small businesses to large enterprises, our expert team ensures seamless integration and around-the-clock monitoring, because security isn't just a service, it's our mission. Turner Security, powered by TechCore.
We're the Good Neighbor Network, FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Welcome into WGNS and the Roundtable. I'm Andy Herzer, Executive Director and founder of First Shot. I welcome in a really long-time friend, one that when I was interviewing for a job at a Division II school in the country, I was going to take with me if he would have gone. So probably a good thing he didn't. He's a much better off being out of the basketball world. But Brandon Burks, welcome in.
Andy, thank you for having me today.
Man, here we are. We're gonna talk a lot. We'll talk a little basketball too, but man, here's two basketball guys. We're going to be in here and we're going to talk about volleyball and what I've seen through my sports lens at about 10 years old. Brandon, you can tell me if it's different now. I see girls exiting playing basketball and shifting into playing volleyball. And you now, an owner of a gym, and the growth, I think, has been unbelievable for women's volleyball in our area.
Yeah, it's the fastest growing sport in the country for females. And, my daughter was a basketball player, as you know, first started in First Shot with Andy. And then, I did some coaching with her through her AAU days and was a big-time softball player. We thought that was really her path, growing up. And then she fell in love with volleyball. My wife played collegiate volleyball. She's really the one that needs to be on this show talking about it. And she's the head coach over at MTCS also, and has had tremendous success in helping build that program to what it is today. But to see the growth in this area of volleyball has just been incredible. And Addison decided, I guess around 7th, 8th grade, that was the path she wanted to take. She was still playing all three at the time, and just see her love for it, to see the growth in this community. We've got girls now that are committing and signing to play, high-level Division I volleyball, which hasn't really happened much in the past here, and it's been really special to watch.
Brandon, again, do you attribute all that to club volleyball, or do you attribute it to the rise of the population of Murfreesboro? What do you...
I think it's truly a combination. I think volleyball in the past, Tennessee always didn't get looked upon as strong as the Midwest is volleyball central. Your Nebraska's, your Wisconsin, and here lately Texas has turned into the volleyball capital now. But the Southeast was always a little behind because basketball was so prevalent in our area. Now it is completely shifted. Now we have had, just in the southern region in club, we've had 5 different clubs qualify for AAU Nationals in the USA division out of 36 total. So you've had roughly close to 15 to 20% of that qualification coming from our region, which has never happened before. And 2 of those teams are from Tennessee. out of the 5, where Atlanta has always been more of a hotbed for volleyball. Now Tennessee is starting to really strengthen. I think it is the growth of Nashville and the growth of Murfreesboro and the clubs. And when we've had other clubs in this community that have done a great job through the years, we have started a new club too, just because of the growth. There's some great clubs in Franklin and Nashville also. So, but the hardest thing with volleyball is the kids don't get to start as young as they do in softball or basketball. They're not really introduced to it, at 3, 4, 5 years old. But now I think with the growth, we're starting to introduce them younger and younger, which is going to be even more impactful long term.
So when you looked at this, I know you were at another club. You guys broke from them. Talk about that break and what you did, because you've got a lot of teams going to now in 1 year. You're 1 year old, and you got 4 teams, I believe, maybe 5, going to the national tournament.
Yeah, we started at another club that was down the road, and they did a great job of really starting these girls and building them up. But we really wanted something in Murfreesboro, in a facility that was, large enough for us to continue to grow and continue to do things that we wanted for these girls. And so we were very fortunate. In year 1, we've had 21 teams, which we were hoping for somewhere in 18 to 20. So, we kind of surpassed what we thought. And then this weekend, we just got back last night from our Southern Regional qualifier, which gives out 6 bids in the whole Southeast for the national tournament. And every one of our ones teams, 14 through 17, qualified. So our 14s, 15s, and 16s all qualified in American and Freedom divisions. And then our 17 group, which Addison does play on, got to the championship game and actually played another Tennessee team. So we knocked out the number 1 team out of Atlanta, which is from a club called A5, who's the number 1 club in the country. And we beat them in the semifinals, which was a huge step, and got to the finals and earned a national bid, which basically puts them in the top 50 to 75 in the country at nationals playing. So it's pretty special to see that happen in year 1. We didn't ever dream that they would double qualify, because they also qualified at a USA qualifier in MEQ, which is in Indianapolis, which is, I think, the toughest one to qualify in. So we did that earlier in the year with that group, and then for these other groups to follow suit. I mean, I think winning breeds winning. You know what I'm saying? It's a culture thing, and I think the girls have all bought into that, and we're really excited to see what's happened in such a short amount of time, and this community has even more to give for sure.
So when you look at it, the thing that drove me out was travel basketball. And it got to be where it wasn't development anymore. All right, it was just get the 10, 12 best guys, let's go hoop for a weekend. Where do you see it for volleyball, for your club? You talked about culture. What kind of culture does that, and what does it look like?
You're exactly right. Basketball and volleyball are very different. Volleyball, it is more of a training platform. When you sign up to play club volleyball, you're going to tournaments, absolutely, but you're really signing up for a commitment. After your high school season or middle school season is over, you start in November, and you play sometimes through July, depending on how far you go and the level that you're playing at with club. But you're training 3 days a week. I remember in AAU, we'd be lucky to practice 1 day a week, or we'd practice on the weekends, and then we just go play in tournaments. But in club volleyball, you are committing to 6 hours of training per week, and that never changes. So these girls get developed on a very, very high level. And the reason for that is when you're trying to play at the next level in volleyball, regardless if that's Division I, Division II, III, NAIA, there's homes for everyone. JUCO, we've had 3 of our girls sign junior college that are actually our 18s teams this year. So there's a place and for everyone. But nowadays, if you're wanting to get signed, it's through really the clubs. That's where the college coaches show up at these qualifiers. They, unfortunately, our high school volleyball team has been to 3 straight Final Fours, which is amazing. I don't know that I've seen one college coach in the stands ever at a high school match, which is sad. because, you know, when I was coaching high school and back when you were coaching, you were coming to some Riverdale games here and there, I remember, but they don't. They only come to these qualifiers and different things. So it makes the club very, very important for our girls to get noticed and recognized and to be able to build their bigger future in college.
I mean, you just said it. The high school teams have 2 months with them. You have 6, 8. So I would even say this, when out towards the end of we called it a courtesy call to the high school coach. We were working the AAU and who had control of them, right? And so it's changed. When you say, let's talk about the process of being recruited in volleyball, because I think my pea brain goes back 22 years now since I've been in college coaching, and
it means we're getting old, Andy.
That gives I am old, not getting. I am old. I remember the process. You know, if we went down to a sophomore level to see a kid, right? We probably wasn't going to get that kid. It doesn't matter. They were going to bloom and get better. If we were noticing them, boom. So here it is. The portal is alive and well in every sport. Talk about that process, and when does it start for girl volleyball?
Well, we just went through it with Addison, obviously. My daughter, she just verbally committed to Middle Tennessee, and we're really excited about their new staff and everything they're doing. And but this really, it's been a 3-year process for us. I mean, we started 3 years ago emailing coaches, learning through or signing up with recruiting places that would help and put us in the right avenues to be successful, being at all these tournaments. I mean, it's a grind. And unfortunately, some people really start too late nowadays. We were told by a good friend of ours one time that, you know, the university, one of the top universities in the country, who's been in multiple Final Fours, already had their libero picked out in 8th grade. And really it's becoming earlier and earlier that these girls are getting noticed at 7th and 8th grade before they even get into high school, which is crazy to me because I think they develop so much more on down the road. But you have to get out there quickly. You have to put yourself and get trained well enough to be recognized, and then the growth happens. You know, really they can't start talking to you till June 15th after their sophomore season. But during that time, they're watching you. They're at your courts. I mean, they can't really talk to you, but they're knowing exactly what you're doing. You're having to send them things. And then hopefully after that sophomore time, you're either committing or you're getting in front of them at camps. Also going to their individual camps is a big thing. I think, as you know, in recruiting, it's all about relationships. And the more people that you can have that you can connect with, getting to know those coaches is important. I think if we had it to do all over again with Addison, we probably would have attended more schools, individual, like elite camps when she was a 8th grade and freshman, just because getting to know those coaches before that June 15th of their sophomore year comes around makes a massive impact. But you know, everything's changed now with the NIL. Just like you mentioned, Andy, it's the Power Four now is taking transfer portal kids left and right. So the mid-majors are becoming more of your recruiting areas that are getting the high school kids, and then they're trying to hold on to them because if they do too well, then the Power Fours are coming after them. So you see it with Rick Barnes in Tennessee in basketball. I think he signed 1 high school kid this year, you know, and he signed 6 transfer portal kids. And the same thing's happening in volleyball. It's not as prevalent because the NIL money is not as high yet there, but there was just a girl from, you know, down south, one of the best SEC programs around, that is transferring right now, and I'm hearing she's going to get somewhere 250 or above 1,000 to transfer. So it's made it very difficult on high school kids, and I hate it. I mean, just to see the lack of opportunities they get sometimes now because of what's happened. And I hope the NCAA or someone will get a hold of that to where it makes it more even across the board, to where there's more opportunities than there was or is currently because of the landscape.
Well, when you look at it, I think it's about a plan. You know, and I tell a lot of the kids that I train that, you know, playing on an AAU basketball team is not the end-all, be-all, that you do have to go do these elite camps. And my suggestion to them is go to a good Division II elite camp. Go to a NEI elite camp. Go to different levels, low, mid, high, and go see. Those coaches are going to tell you flat out quickly if they're interested in you or not. So it's interesting to me that I think you got to put a plan in place. So how does a parent, you know, your daughter was lucky. You and Nicole both are, you know, college athletes. You're a high school coach. She's a high school coach. You kind of understood it a little bit and had a little bit more insight than the normal family has. So again, if someone's out there playing volleyball, what's the plan? What would be the perfect plan? You said you'd even change after going through it now.
You know, I'm a big believer in nothing just happens. I think everything in life is created. And if you want to play at that next level, or if your child wants to play at that next level, it starts young. It's a work ethic that is created in them. And then, just like you said, Andy, I mean, you have to get on their radar. They're not going to come find you anymore. So unless you're LeBron James or that level of athlete, they're not coming to find you. You've got to get in front of them. So you've got to find every way to make sure you're within the right club. And this is any sport nowadays, not just volleyball. But you've got to be at the right club that's putting you in the right tournaments, that is allowing you to get in front of the right coaches. I mean, just like Addison, for example, we went and played in Indianapolis. And then we played in a higher division. And we had college coaches at those courts. We wound up getting to the championship out of 128 teams. Because of that run, she had 4 Division I offers. But we had to be in front of them. And then you had to perform. And so you've got to be in the right club. You have to be performing in the right venues, in the right areas. You have to be emailing and putting together highlight video clips every week, every tournament. You know, the amount of hours that Nicole has put into this. I mean, it's a second full-time job, or whatever. She's got about 4 full-time jobs. I'm lucky that she's still hanging on to me because she's doing so many different things with some of our properties and coaching high school volleyball and helping with this recruiting process. But after the tournaments, we're sending emails out. Her and Addison are. She's putting highlight films together. We are making sure we're in front of them left and right. So she's really the one that needs to be on here talking, not me, because she's the expert when it comes to that. But I've seen it, and I've seen the work that's been put into it. And then when Addison finally did make that decision, it was like 4 or 5 years of just grind coming to fruition, and it was really special, to be honest. It really was. So
when I sit here and listen to this, who has to splice together the film? Are you doing it is the club doing it for your players, or the parents have to do it and learn how to do it?
Well, we figured out that Addison was better than any of us at it. And so these kids nowadays with the technology and social media, I mean, we have a recruiting service that we hired that we have been working with for a couple of years, and they will do it. But we found that sometimes it took them a little longer, and it wasn't as good as what Addison could do. So she would, I mean, to her credit, we'd be on the way back from a drive from Indianapolis, and of course, as a parent, I'm clipping every video. She's taking my phone, she's moving it to her phone, and then she's working on it the whole way home. And then to put together a 2-minute highlight film, or a 2.5 minute. So she's, I mean, to benefit, you know, she's the credit to go behind that, and then of course puts the music to it and everything else. I mean, it takes a lot of work. But then of course Nicole's helping her draft the emails. We're finding out every single school that she's wanting to go to. We're knowing who every coach is, so we can send it directly to them. You know, Nicole's researching them two are putting all that together, and then it goes out strategically Tuesday after that tournament. And so
like now she's committed.
Mm-hmm.
Video still going out?
My daughter loves to still critique and watch that video. It was funny. We'd won our 3 games on Saturday, and Saturday night she's resting in the hotel room, and she's watching Nebraska's spring game against South Dakota State. I mean, she just loves volleyball. She loves to watch it. She loves to learn about it. So she still wants to see what she's done or not. So even though she's committed, we're still clipping. And just because with the changing landscape in college, you never can tell when something may happen. I mean, you hope nothing ever changes with Middle Tennessee or what happens to our staff or anything like that, but we want to make sure we're prepared at all times. So we're going to continue to have those clips for her and her put together highlight videos and to continue to, and she likes to, grade herself to make sure and see what she could have done better or not. But, I would not stop, ever, just in case when it comes to that.
So the crazy world that your daughter is about to go in, let's talk about the new staff at Middle and what attracted Addison to them. And
well, I mean, I think the world of Diane Turnham, who's the women's athletic director of associate AD there, and I talked to her a little bit about what was going on as far as when she started the search, and then we got to know them, and Alexa Keckler's the new head coach there, and she's just she's a family woman, and I think when you send your kid, because we flew to Dallas, Texas, we went all over in that recruiting cycle in about a 2-week time, because nowadays they don't give you 6 months to make that decision. Whenever they offer, I mean, you've got a week or two pretty much to make that decision, or they're going to the next kid. And so when Addison came back, and we had been talking to several different people, but when she had those 4 offers, we were like, I mean, in 7 days we visited 3 different schools, and it was a grind. I mean, we drove, we flew, but when it came down to it, we wanted to make sure that our daughter made a decision, and she made the decision. It wasn't me and Nicole, and we were glad of it, because it's a little easier for us to get to, for sure, and we both are graduates there and want to see the program do well. But it was about the family dynamic that is being created there right now by her. I mean, it was special. When we walked in the visit, and they were the first visit we took, which is usually not an advantage. The last one is usually the advantage, right? But the very first one, we walked in the gym, and every single player come and greeted us and Addison. Didn't have to. Everyone came out of their way and found, I mean, before practice started. And the 3 coaches, when we did our media, and they do all the videos and the pictures and all the fun stuff for the kids, all 3 coaches went to that with us and talked with the parents through that process the whole time. They never left our side, which sometimes you go to these universities and the head coach is only there for the end, or the recruiting coordinator is the only one with you. And the way they handled that was extremely impressive. And I think big things are ahead in what they're doing. And so we're really excited for Addison to be a part of that. And we want to see that program, I mean, win some CUSA championships and do things. And I think with some of the kids they're bringing in, there's some real possibilities.
so you look at this, and even back 25 years ago, there was different levels. Talk about the different levels in college volleyball right now. We obviously know that the Big Ten right now is dominant in it, but the money is going to catch up because the SEC schools have money. So those are going to be the 2 big power players in this. Talk about, again, after you take the Power 4 out, what's next?
Well, I mean, there's some extremely solid mid-major programs out there. I mean, I think after your Power 4, and even you got to throw the ACC in there too, with Pitt and Louisville doing what they've done the last few years. I mean, the top half of that league is really strong. The bottom half's not as strong, but then you basically the next group is your Conference USA, American, Big East, and that's your high mid-majors that have teams in there that are top 25 teams. You may have 1 or 2 or 1 compared to 5 like some of these other conferences do, but it's still a really solid level of volleyball. I mean, Western Kentucky, even though they're our rival, I know, but they've been very solid for the last several years. UTEP had a great program last year. NCUSA Liberty's coming on. Obviously, Middle's is going to do big things. But then you turn and look at the American Conference in South Florida and some of those, and then the Big East, which there was a strong school there that was recruiting Addison too. But Marquette has been a top 25 program. Creighton has been a top 25 program. So there are still some other leagues that are outside of that Power 4 that have a really rich volleyball tradition. And then you still have other levels of Division I, II below that are good conferences. And I mean, when and that was the hardest thing for us is when you sit down and really look at it. If you've got 300 roughly Division I schools, and they're going to sign one libero, most of them, maybe two defenders at most. I mean, it really out of the thousands and tens and hundreds of thousands of girls, every tournament we go to, there's 300 to 400 to 500 teams that are playing that weekend in that area. So I mean, it's very tough. First off, to get a Division I scholarship. Second off, Division II, Division III, NAIA's fantastic levels of volleyball too.
Junior college.
Junior college. I mean, any girl, if you've got an opportunity to go play, and that's the one thing that we were told through this whole process: find somewhere where you can go play, because we know some friends that have gone to some of those bigger universities and had to sit or had kind of been, jerked around a little bit
no, hold it. I can be honest.
Yeah.
As a college basketball coach, it's a business, and sometimes you are trying to, in a way, not maybe viciously, but you're trying to get them to go.
Well, and you've got to out-recruit that kid every year if you're going to be successful. And so, one of the things we really look for, because she had some bigger looks at some Power 4 universities, but their coaches, we weren't sure if they were going to be there in a year or two. And so when it came down, really the top two that we chose were new coaching staffs that we knew were going to be there for 3 or 4 years, and that we knew it was going to be like family. And that was one of our biggest reasons for choosing where we did.
Well, we're going to take a break and be right back with Brandon Burks.
At Turner Security, we bring cutting-edge protection with live video monitoring, access control entry, advanced camera systems, and intermedia IP phones, all designed to keep your business safe and connected. From small businesses to large enterprises, our expert team ensures seamless integration and around-the-clock monitoring, because security isn't just a service, it's our mission. Turner Security, powered by TechCore.
Chip Walters, and I'm honored to be your 2024 MTAR Realtor of the Year. I'm with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates, and like many of you, I've seen the real estate market shift and change. People often ask, Chip, what's really going on? Well, that's a great question, and I believe in answering with solid, factual data. So let's cut through some of the noise. I invite you to reach out. Let's have a conversation about your real estate goals and the current market trends in your neighborhood. You can find all my contact information at choosechip.net.
Do you love to read?
Love to read.
Tell us about the library at Adams Place.
We have an amazing library. It's like a library at a big estate. There are just so many books. You just come, pick out one you want, take it home, read it, take it back. It's just great.
Hi, this is Terry Deal at Adams Place. Call me for more information about Adams Place. Phone 615-904-9111.
Adams Place on Memorial, across from Walmart.
It's your captain speaking. To the passenger with the Mirror Fast soft shoes, smart move.
No way am I letting travel constipation ruin this trip.
Can't blame you. Mirror Fast works fast, but without the harsh side effects.
Since I'm such a smart traveler, can I move to first class?
No. Close the curtain, Carol.
From the makers of Miralax, new Mirafast soft chews work naturally with your body in as little as 30 minutes to give you a comfortable go on the go. Find Mirafast today at your local retailer. Use as directed for occasional constipation. Contains magnesium hydroxide.
This is Good Neighbor Events with Bart Walker. Brought to you by AmeriCare Pest Control and the law offices of John Day.
This is a paid legal ad.
When a family member is lost as a result of someone else's negligence, the grief can be unbearable. It also leaves you with a lot of questions like, how did this happen? Who's responsible? And is my family going to be okay? That's a lot to go through, but with the law offices of John Day on your side, you don't have to go through any of it alone. We understand what you're going through, and we have the experience to get the answers, justice, and compensation your family deserves. Call the law offices of John Day.
Now, WGNS Good Neighbor Events. Are you new to town? Maybe you want to learn more about the community. Well, the Rutherford County Historical Society invites you to come over to the one-room Ransom Schoolhouse every Saturday morning from 9 until noon and talk local history. They'll answer your questions and share history that you didn't know. And it's all free, including the coffee and donuts. That's Saturday mornings, 9 until noon, at the one-room Ransom Schoolhouse, 717 North Academy Street. People are asking about Spring Fling. That's a little bit down the road, but we wanted to let you know it's May 20th through 23rd, and volunteers are needed. Get with the Rutherford County Chamber of Commerce and see how you can help. Spring Fling, May 20th through the 23rd. Don't throw away Old Glory. Bring your tattered American flag to WGNS and let the girls from BSA Troop 2019 at Trinity United Methodist Church retire it with dignity. Plus, we also recycle Bibles. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Rutherford weather.
We'll see a few spotty rain showers possible late this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies, a high in the mid-60s. Tonight, partly cloudy skies develop below near 47. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki on News Radio WGNS.
Currently, it's 49.
Broadcasting from the Middle Tennessee Electric Studios, MTE Sharing Change has now donated more than $11 million to local nonprofits assisting worthy causes in our community. MTE, serving to make life better since 1936.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Welcome back into WGNS and the Roundtable. I'm Andy Herzer, Executive Director and founder of First Shot, with my good friend Brandon Burks. And Coach, the process is daunting to a lot of these, and to navigate. You said you hired a service. What did that service provide? Because I'm going to say this, there's two things when I was coaching. The highlight films we got in, we made the grad assistant watch, right? The emails, the grad assistant answered. What did that service provide to a family that's trying to navigate this?
I think it provided some structure, to us where we had never done that before. So I think there was a structure in the way you write your emails, how to grab their attention, just like you said, because, and it was funny, one of the recruiting visits we were on out of state, the coach mentioned, she said, I've had 50 emails from Liberos today, and so they're getting just bombarded with those type things. So you have to stand out, be personal, find ways to catch their attention quickly. So I do think that service helped us there. I think it helped us prepare early on how to do things, because it's not just there. It's how to create your own YouTube channel. It's how to make sure they have a landing page to go to. There are a couple different services right now. One's called University Athlete, and that's the site that college coaches use to basically, when they're evaluating you at tournaments, and you as a parent can sign up for that service, but you can't see what coach did it. You can see what conference they're from, and you can see how many evaluations they had. So a lot of times if I'm there and I see a school come up, and I kind of know which conference they're in, so I usually will know. Well, then you can target them. And one of our people that's working for our club, our recruiting coordinator now, told us, he said, hey, if you see them at your court on Saturday and you see that you got an evaluation from them from that conference, email them that night when you get back to the hotel room and send them their schedule for tomorrow. We actually did that in MBQ, which was one of the ones where some of those offers came from. So just learning different strategies to get in front of those coaches and making sure that you are aware of it is huge. Now, some are money grabs in certain ways, but I think if you really it's almost like anything, Andy. Back when we were coaching, we go to a coaching clinic and we may take one thing from it. And 10 hours of it was not very good. But if that 1 hour gave us something, it was worth going. And it's the same thing with anything you do in life. With that recruiting service, sign up for it, take the best from it, learn from it, and then, like I said, just even with the videos, Addison's better at them than they are, so we use her for that, but maybe we use them for other things and connections, just like you said.
Well, I mean, it's like so many things. I think you got to work.
Correct.
You just told me, you as a family, especially your daughter and your wife, Nicole, I mean, it was a full-time job to get where she's at, and people just don't realize not every family has that opportunity. So with that being said, they're going to have to rely more on the service, probably.
No question. And I just think, and I've seen close people to me that I know that just, if they would have started earlier, that if I have one piece of advice for anybody that's out there that has a child that has aspirations of playing any sport next level, it's starting early in what you do. And the training is so important to make sure they're getting trained by the right people at the right place. And the connections is so important. I mean, attending camps. I remember Addison going to Tennessee's camp when she was young. But I also remember, the head coach never showing up at her floor. So we didn't go back to that camp. We went to other camps that did have people that showed up. So, I mean, there's getting to places, learning what you want and don't want. And that's another thing. I mean, Addison learned so much through this recruiting process that'll teach her so many things in life. How to have a phone conversation. And that's another thing. These coaches aren't talking to parents. They're calling your kid. And your kid has to be ready to take that phone call because they're going to be 16 years old most of the time when they take that first phone call. And if they blow it on that first phone call, they may not get one again, because they're learning about that kid as much as they are how they play. They want to see, is that kid going to be able to communicate on the floor? Is that kid going to be a leader? And so teaching them those life skills. And I remember the first call Addison had was not very good. I mean, it
wouldn't be.
It wouldn't be, yeah. But she learned through that. And even there was another school that, called her like 3 times. And we knew probably she wasn't going to go to that school. But they taught her so much in those calls. By the time it came down to those top 2 calls that we got, and Addison did them on the same day. We were in Florida. I'll never forget. We were on vacation. Addison took both calls, and she nailed it. I mean, and I was like, is this my daughter? Is this the same one that I've heard, talk all these other times? But it was the practice and the preparation from those others that taught her, and she got better and better and better. And those 2 both offered her, and, became, and it really was great to see the growth. But it was starting early in everything you do when it comes to that.
So let's talk about those phone calls. What were the main questions? And that, because after you get through them, I know you. Mm-hmm. You're prepping her for the next time she's going to get that call, you and Nicole. So what were the most difficult questions for Addison to answer?
I think some are very direct. Some coaches are, to where they're asking point blank, who else are you talking to? And what other schools? And you've got to be able to know right off the bat, how to answer that question. Because you don't want to turn them off, but you also want them to know that they're not the only school that you're talking to at that time. So, she handled one of those one time, and we tried to prep her for every call beforehand. Hey, we tried to study the schools, study the coaching staffs, study their backgrounds. We went through bios of every coach. That way she would know, do they have kids, what their kids' names are. Because, preparation is key in anything you do in life. My favorite quote of all time is, luck occurs when preparation meets opportunity. And so we tried to teach her to research them, know about the school, ask questions about the school, to where Addison wound up asking as many questions to them as she did.
I think you got to flip the script.
Yeah, you do. And so that was key.
Don't let them control it.
But you don't want to be silent. And that's when it becomes awkward, when you don't have things to talk about. So we try to give her help her study them, to where she felt comfortable in asking questions. And she did. She asked, what styles do you coach? Different, what about the university? Tell me why this school? What's those things? So she kind of flipped the script a little bit, but then she had to be prepared, because there were some tough questions that were asked that way. So, I would just say making sure you research the people. That way you're comfortable in what you're doing is the biggest thing when it comes to those conversations with coaches.
Yeah, it's amazing how I hear some of the same stuff going on that we were doing, but how different it is. Again, so what was the one takeaway to grab? And you just said it. There was probably at this tournament this weekend 500 liberos.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So, what besides just her being really good, how do you get a coach's attention?
I think it's floor presence. You know, that's the one thing. You know, there's some girls out there, they're 6'3" that jump out of the gym and they're going to get noticed regardless, just because there's there's not as many of them.
Yep.
But when you're 5'7", there's a million 5'7", 16, 17-year-old girls out there right now. So I think it's really, how do you command the floor when you're out there? Because they're watching that as much as they're watching the way you play. They're watching how are you communicating with your teammates? Are you leading? How do you look after a bad play? That's the one thing my wife, I think, does better than any coach I've ever watched. And she's a 10 times better coach than I ever was. I can tell you that, because I was not very good at this. I would get upset when a kid didn't do something well or didn't do what I asked him to do, but she's next play mentality. And she taught Addison that ever since she was in fifth grade, you know, starting volleyball. It's next play mentality. If you make a mistake, shake it off. And because of that, Addison, she never feels pressure. I mean, it's the one thing that it's amazing to watch her, because if she makes a mistake, it's okay. I've got the next one. And I think college coaches are looking for that too. They don't expect you to be perfect. And that's the one thing if I had any advice to these kids out there, is they're not expecting you to be perfect. And if you feel that pressure of having to play that way, you're not going to perform when they're standing by your court. And they're standing right there. That's the one thing. If you're a parent of young girls or athletes, they're surrounding your court, and you've got to be prepared, and you're going to see them. And Addison sees every one of them. She's as aware of but it never gets to her, because she understands I've trained for this, I prepared for this, and I'm ready for this. And
so
that's big.
You know, it's what I tell kids all the time when I'm training. I mean, you see them miss a shot, and they're quickly to react to give a sour face. Is not to live in the past, but to live in the present. And you can't worry about your future. But see, that's what we believe as Christ followers,
that's
too,
right.
that our past is taken care of and our future is secure. So all we have to do is live in the present. But to get an athlete to do that, I think the mental toughness is really, I think it's what's lacking, is teaching mental toughness.
They have to know how to fail. You know, that's the one thing. And us as parents, and we're the worst. I'm bad at it too. We
all are.
We don't want to see our kids fail
or hurt.
And I'll be honest with you, we got a lot of no's through this process. I mean, that list was huge when we started, and then it started shrinking. And that is tough as a parent. And there's pressure to, like, well, do we sign now? Do we wait? Do we hold out? Do you not do this? There's a lot of sleepless nights. I mean, a lot of sleepless nights through the process. And it's not just us. I mean, we've got other teammates and others going through the same thing. But, man, nothing in life comes easy. And I think if nothing else, that has taught my daughter, and it's going to teach a lot of kids through this, if you really want something, you're going to have to overcome obstacles. The struggle is real, you know, and if you can overcome that struggle, and there's big things ahead for each and every one of these kids coming up.
So you see those struggles. What do you see them coming out with on the other side, Brandon? I mean, you're seeing it now. What is that character that you're seeing in these girls?
I think the confidence is the biggest thing I see. I mean, to see and I'm using my daughter a lot because I've just been through it with her. I wouldn't say Addison was a very confident public speaker before this process. To see the change in the way she can communicate to an adult and the confidence she has, because volleyball is going to end. All these sports for these athletes are going to end at some point in time. How are they going to go interview for that next job? How are they going to be able to take the position they want in life or find that husband or wife? How are they going to communicate to their kids when they become parents? It's all about that. And so that growth in confidence has been the biggest thing. She's always had confidence on the floor. I mean, she's probably the most confident player I've ever watched on the floor as far as that goes. But she grew in confidence in how she could talk and speak. She was the same girl at school in third grade that couldn't even do a presentation because she didn't want to speak in front of the class. But then now she's having to talk to adults. And so as much as I dislike the recruiting process where the parents are not involved in those conversations early on, it's been fun to see how it helps those kids grow. It really is.
I mean, I guess I see that they have eliminated the parent. Why do you think that is in this process? Because at the end of the day, I know your family's going to sit down and make that decision. It's going to be hers, but you're going to weigh it together.
You know, I think there's two reasons for that. I think one is they really want to get a feel for that kid. How is that kid going to be when the parents are not there? How is that kid going to be when they're having to be coached and they're not going home at night to have a conversation with their parents about the coach, which happens way too much, you know, in high school and middle school and club. It was so fun this weekend to watch our 16s qualify. Our 16s that were not even, they were the third seed in their pool, which means out of 40 teams, they were probably ranked, let's say 25th. They found a way to get to the Final Four. They overcame a lot of obstacles and a lot of things to do that, and to see the joy on their face in these kids and parents after having that happen over when they went through a lot through the season and probably had some conversations that were tough through the year. But those same things happen anytime you do anything
in life.
The second reason is I think there are some insecure coaches when it comes to the volleyball world, and maybe it's all college worlds. There's some insecure college coaches, and the ones that are the best communicate with the parents pretty quick. And to be honest with you, the two that we chose were very forthright and upcoming, and came out to us pretty quickly that, hey, we know you're a part of this too. We want to answer any questions that you have. Now, of course, they talked Addison first, but then they came around to us where some others kind of didn't. And I think the more mature the staff, the more they will they want the parents involved and want the parents' questions answered, just like the kids. Because the kids, when it comes to finances, and here's another thing, Andy, when you go into the volleyball world, they're going to probably give you 12 scholarships out of 18 seats. Just like baseball has been through years and everything else. It's not football where they're funding, everyone. So you're going to go into this if you're a parent, you need to go in this understanding it's a rarity to get a full ride. You may get a 50%, you may get a recruited walk-on, whatever else that may be. So the parents need to be involved in that, because there's a financial aspect that they need to know the differences between in-state and out-of-state, scholarships that are available per school, all of those different types of things. So it's really important that you're a part of it, but I also like the fact, I didn't like it at first, but I do like the fact now that the kids really having to mature through it.
Well, we'll take our final break and be right back with Brandon Burks.
Do you love WGNS Radio? Well, now you can watch it too. WGNS Big GTV brings your favorite radio shows live and on demand. From breaking news and community talk to Rutherford County's top local sports. We've got it all right at your fingertips. Watch anytime, anywhere. WGNS Big GTV, where radio comes to life.
Manager of Steered Straight 2 Furniture and Thrift at 1007 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard.
You're not just walking into just a big warehouse, you're walking into rooms. We've got a media room, we've got a boutique room, we've got a vintage room, a furniture area, kitchen, all that.
Steered Straight 2 Furniture and Thrift.
Every day you go in there, I promise you it's changing.
Steered Straight 2 Furniture and Thrift, 1007 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Online at steeredstraightthriftstore.org.
With Progressive, renters can save on protection for the things that make your place yours, even things that don't make sense to everyone.
People always wonder why I don't get rid of my guitar since I never play. But it's like, what if I actually end up taking lessons? Sure, I've had it for 8 years, but if I get rid of it, then what will my New Year's resolution be next January?
Exactly. So bundle your renters and auto and save with Progressive and protect the things that make sense to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Are you tired of feeling like just another number with your insurance provider? At Rayburn Insurance Agency in Smyrna, Agent Rick Hall prides himself on offering personalized service that puts you first. Every client's needs are unique. From personal home and auto coverage to tailored business insurance, Rick Hall's got you covered. Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance Agency in Smyrna, where you're more than just a policy number. You're a neighbor.
Looking for the best Blue Raider gear in town? Raider Tees has you covered. From stylish apparel and hats to unique MT-themed gifts and accessories, we've got everything a true Blue Raider fan needs. Whether you're headed to the game, shopping for a fellow fan, or just want to show off your Middle Tennessee pride, Raider Tees is the go-to spot. Stop by 111 East MTCS Road, right across from MTCS, and check out our unbeatable selection. Raider Tees, bigger, better, and go blue.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Welcome back into the Roundtable, WGNS. I'm Andy Herzer, Executive Director and founder of First Shot. Brandon, let's kind of shift this a little bit. You're now leading a gym and a club. How are you dealing with the parents, which I just think have gone off the chart in their their assessment of their daughters, what level they or sons, what level they are. It's at an all-time low to me how we act in the stands.
Well, I mean, we have an executive director that's Jeff Wismer, who's leading our club. So he's the one. We're more investors in the club and making sure it's up and running and doing those type things. So he's really the one that's handling that stuff, and he's leading and leading the trainings and have really put together an amazing coaching staff for year one, and that's hard. I mean, finding quality coaches, that are willing to put that much time and effort into something. So we're really thrilled with what he's done and what the coaches have done year one. But nothing, even though we had some amazing success this weekend, we also had some teams that probably didn't do as well as they thought. And you always have some upset parents in those situations, and sometimes rightfully so, and sometimes it's a growing situation to where I hope results matter, no question about it. But our motto is teach, train, grow. And that's what, Rhythm Volleyball Academy is all about. And that teach, training, growing comes from wins and losses.
Yeah, we forget that, losses is a part of life.
It's a part of life, and you grow more from those.
I think so.
I remember my losses more than I do my wins the whole time at Riverdale, no question about it, and learned more from those. But, I think the model, the tournaments are important, the winning and losing, it is important. Don't get me wrong. I want to win at everything I do. But the training is the most important thing. And I think that's what this academy is all about. We're set up to where they're getting training 3 days a week. They're continuing to get training at all times. If they want to get better, they can come get private lessons on top of that at the facility. And we want to see them grow as a player, more so than we do care about the wins and losses, even though it is a lot of fun when you do that. So I'm hoping, that's one thing that separates us from others. And you're going to have issues. You're going to have upset parents. You're going to have different things. That's just part of life. It is. And I think the social media aspect of today's world has really crushed probably parents more so than kids. I don't think kids care about it as much as parents do when it comes down to it. And just to see, they didn't post about this kid or this team or that things, or they didn't win. And really, I saw a post by one of our parents that was probably the most impressive thing I saw over the weekend. And it said, hey, they didn't win, but they grew. And they really had a great time, and they grew together. And the importance of teammates and a team sometimes is forgotten nowadays. So we're really trying to continue to teach that in our teach, train, grow model, and grow, on and off the court, grow spiritually, grow. We want to help grow them in every single way we can.
Well, again, my hat's off to you, and I know you guys are just at the start of this, but who you hire and who runs it matters, and Jeff's such a great young man, and again, congrats to you. So what's next for Rhythm?
Well, I mean, we want to continue to grow. I mean, I think, our goal is to try to get to 24 to 28 teams in year 2. We want, our goal is for every girl that comes through that program that wants to play collegiate volleyball has the opportunity to do that. So we're going to continue. We've already we've got a college camp series this summer, which is a first in our area, to where we have 8 different Division I schools that are coming in a week's time to run a 2.5-hour clinic per one. So that's going to be special, and these are good mid-major programs that we talked about earlier, and some power ones on top of that. We're going to try to make sure that our girls have opportunities to learn. We had Diane Turnham come speak to our girls. We've had different women in leadership come speak to our girls. We want to make sure that they learn more than just volleyball through this, because ultimately there's much bigger plans for them on down the road. So that's something that we want to create a special environment. And that's the biggest thing for this community. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Murfreesboro deserves to be looked at just like Nashville is and everything else. We're big enough now, and this is a very special place.
I almost tell you that Murfreesboro, sports-wise, is looked on more favorably than almost now in almost all sports.
We're very fortunate here, no question about it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just we're growing, and with that, I hope if there's other sports out there listening, the whole thing to me is teach, grow, develop, whatever you want to call it, and compete are the 3 biggest things that we can teach our kids, because they're going to have to in life. So again, congrats to the first year success. Brandon, you've been such a good friend to me. And to you and Nicole, to all that know, I'm not going to take a selfish moment. This young man and his wife has supported First Shot for a long time, and I can't thank you enough, because you're more than just the volleyball and more than just your kids. You're about other people, and I think you've taught your kids and a lot of other kids how to champion a cause greater than themselves. So thank you.
Well, thank you for that, Andy. You've been a great friend, and this community has given so much to us. I mean, I was in small town Woodbury, Tennessee, and that community is incredible. It's the reason I am the way I am today, and kind of that small town upbringing. But coming to Murfreesboro and being at Riverdale and being a part of this community and being an MTSU graduate and now at First Bank, and the blessings I've had in the mortgage profession and doing this, it's all because of the people here. And so every time we leave here, when me and Nicole drive back into Murfreesboro, we're like, man, this is an incredible town and community that we're very blessed to be at.
So again, thank you for coming on the show, and we'll do it again soon.
All right, thanks, Andy.
Middle Point Landfill's Mike Klassen.
Let's do the right thing and get some recycling programs off the ground.
Middle Point's Try and Hard.